hello, everybody. I'm with Patricia Rogers. She's the CEO of BetterEvaluation, one of the associate members of the Global Evaluation Initiative. It's lovely to see you, Patricia. Welcome.
Hi, Dugan.
So tell us a little bit about how BetterEvaluation understands evaluation capacity development and why you think it's important.
Well, perhaps I might start at the end about why we think it's important. Is we genuinely believe that doing evaluation better is very important for making better decisions and also helping people to understand the value of what's being done and how to do it better. So in order to do that, we think we need to improve capacity in order to do it. And when we're talking about evaluation, we're not just talking about the, an end of project report that someone comes along with a clipboard. We're really talking about how do we embed evaluative inquiry into designing programs, doing needs analysis, doing the monitoring and all the improvement and discrete evaluations and synthesis of evaluations. So we're really interested in that whole mix of types of evaluative activity and in the capacity we're looking at individuals and organisations and how they're able to do evaluations, sure, but also plan and manage and use evaluations. So we're really interested in not just working with evaluators or people who have to suddenly do some evaluation, but also people who manage and procure evaluation or set up M&E systems. So we're really looking at that whole range and human capital, skills and knowledge, social capital, the supportive networks, and the institutional capital. What are the systems and the resources in organisations to be able to do it? So, we take a really expansive approach to evaluation capacity development, and we tend to refer to it as evaluation capacity strengthening because our approach is really about identifying and building on the strengths that are there in people and organisations and then growing that.
So tell us a little bit about some of the successes you've achieved, some stories of things that you think that BE has done really well.
There's a range of things. I guess one of the things that we're very proud of is some work we did with IDRC in Canada to support program managers to plan and manage an evaluation, whether that's done internally or if they're procuring an external evaluator. We worked with it, and I'm proud of it because of both what's there, that here's this free resource that IDRC then made publicly available that a lot of people are using and organisations and using for individual evaluations and for systems. I'm also really pleased about the way we did it, that we worked with IDRC. They saw this need to support, to complement the work that their evaluation unit was doing. We looked at what was available, saw that nothing really fitted, and worked collaboratively with them to develop something that was both streamlined but had links into the rest of the site so people can, follow up the pieces of information they need. And it's got a very cool little tool in it where you can, that'll help you actually do a terms of reference for an evaluation. And just those really practical tools, I think, are often the difference between something that people understand and something they can actually do. So I'm really pleased with that. And there's a follow-on to that, which is that a sub-regional government used that guide, did a course with us around that, followed that guide, and then wrote their state evaluation policy and guidance around that. So they found it really useful, not just for that individual evaluation, but really to support all the government departments to do that. So, those things where something small grows really, it warmed my heart and that are built collaboratively.
I'm smiling because I think that I've used that tool a lot and encourage other people to use it. And I think it's been very constructive in a lot of instances. So congratulations on that work, which has proved really durable as well. Tell us about some of the roadblocks or challenges you think we face in evaluation capacity development, or strengthening, as you call it.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the challenges I think is all the changes that go on in organisations that, people move on, and sometimes that's good for the next organisation they go to, but it's always an ongoing task, and I think that's one of the challenges, is to understand that this will be ongoing work as people come in and out of organisations. And then linked to that is, I think sometimes there's unrealistic expectations about how long it will take till everyone's up to speed and we have a great system in place. That it's not just about doing a quick little course and now we understand it, but how do you really build systems to do what I find is very challenging work? We're trying to answer very big questions, often under very serious constraints of time and money and data. So how do you do that in practical ways? Takes time to develop that. I was working with another government department, and they built up their capacity over several years and did a fabulous job. And the other departments came to them and said, "How do we do this?" And they explained what they'd done over 6 years. And the other department said, "Oh, well, but we need to do it in 2, and we won't pay attention to that. We'll go and do our thing in 2 years." And after 2 years, they'd really made no progress, because some things you can't rush, So I think we have to be ambitious, but realistic about what can be done, and honest about that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's very much part of the way we're approaching the Global Evaluation Initiative. But besides the GEI, what other initiatives are you excited about in the evaluation space globally?
I mean, I think one of the sort of enduring features that's very exciting for everyone are the evaluation societies and associations. Sometimes people call them voluntary organisations for professional evaluation, VOPEs. They provide such an important role in supporting evaluation. The really good ones are homes for evaluators and evaluation managers and policy analysts and people who use evaluation, and they're often a really important meeting ground for those different groups. They're very important around capacity development. They run training. They often publish journals which have good examples in them, and they have that sort of peer support where people can ask questions. Their conferences are often fantastic examples of sharing practice. I think evaluation societies are enormously important and are now in many countries, and yet still often don't have a lot of visibility outside evaluators. So a lot of people in government don't even know that they exist. So I think they're a really important part. And I guess another one that I think is much newer, that I think is exciting, is the P2P initiative, that has just grown so much. It's grassroots, it's multilingual, it's very inclusive, it's very practical, and I think when I'm seeing the material that's coming out of that, I'm really excited.
Great, and I think I agree with you on both of those. Both VOPEs and the P2P initiative are fabulous. Let's talk for a minute about something that's not so fabulous, which is for COVID. What do you think we've learned from the COVID experience that we otherwise may not have?
Well, yeah, I mean, this has been a crisis and calamity for individuals and families and cities and countries and regions in the globe, and the cost of that is something that will be worn for a long time. In amongst that, I think there are some really useful lessons for us, and I think a fundamental one is encouraging organisations to stop and think about why they're doing evaluation, what they're trying to achieve, where they need to be putting their evaluation resources, and when it's not appropriate to just roll out the standard evaluation that they've always done. And I think being much more thoughtful about the costs and benefits of doing evaluation, I think that's a really positive outcome of this. That I think just having a system where everything gets evaluated in pretty much the same way, without a lot of thought being put into it, is not helpful. So that's been helpful. In some cases, organisations have said we won't we won't do an evaluation, we'll do some other sort of exercise to do learning and accountability. We'll do something quite different. Other times they've been saying we'll scale it down, or we'll have more local ownership and conduct of the evaluation. We'll use more remote systems for data collection or data management or evaluation management. And some of those things are being very positive in terms of how they're, again, improving the quality of evaluation. And the other thing that's come out of it, I think, is people really understanding the notion of complexity and how do you operate in conditions of ongoing uncertainty and unpredictable change. It's easy to say those words, and they've been around in different contexts, but now we're all faced with that. And what does that mean for evaluation, which often has a very fixed plan? It often evaluates an intervention in terms of a very fixed plan. And how do we do evaluation in quite different ways? And so the gathering interest in real-time evaluation, rapid evaluation, I think is all to the good. How do you do that and have good quality? So that's the exciting and I think really valuable thing to have come out of it. And I guess the other thing in terms of ECD is we often had this assumption that people had to fly in together. They had to be together for a conference. They had to be together for a workshop. And that excluded a lot of people because of the travel costs. And now still can be digital exclusion. We need to work on that for sure. But it has opened up a lot more opportunities for people. And I think we're being much more thoughtful about the bite-sized bits of professional development that people can do. So there's great opportunities in terms of that.
Yeah. I mean, the way you describe it, I think there are some real positive outcomes of what's been a very terrible situation. Let's turn to the Global Evaluation Initiative finally. What are your hopes for it? And as my last question, what do you think success for the GEI would really look like?
Well, I think success will be the proof will be in the pudding, that we have more countries with really strong and useful monitoring and evaluation systems where, it's not just about collecting and reporting the data, but it's visibly used to improve results. I think, so I'm sorry to set you such a high standard, but in the end, that's what counts, is getting to that point. And that's it's a big challenge, as we know, to get to that point. But that's the thing. And then, according to your theory of change, what are going to be the progress markers along the way? How will you know that it is the pieces are coming together? And part of that, I think, is how we manage to realise the vision of having it being more than the sum of its parts. And the exciting thing for a GEI, I think, is that it's coordinating, bringing together different organisations in ways that hasn't been done before, and really encouraging collaboration and, to look at where there could be synergies or complementarities, where there could be follow through in terms of the different work that's being done. So, early indicators, I think, will be the success in engaging the different partners and different organisations and having them work together in ways that are demonstrably more useful, or likely to be useful. The design makes some sense.
I think what we're discovering already is that coordination and collaboration is a major undertaking, but we're delighted to be working with people like yourself and BetterEvaluation. We feel like the network of partners that we're building are the right institutions. And it's already, I think, getting momentum, and we're looking forward to achieving some of the results that you've described. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Great. Thank you very much.